Milk Minute!
Theater arts are one of the Asian traditions of the people in Asia, particularly in Japan, Indonesia, and China. This theater arts form was transmitted from generation to generation. The message in every presentation conveys reflection of everyday life. The key principle of theater is selectivity. Through the various forms of theater arts, as a specific form can be achieved, clarity, order, and beauty rarely found in ordinary life. Moreover, it is important to my profession, especially I'm in the field of MAPE, to really transfer the energy within me to my students about how unique and wonderful to learn the facet of theater. It helps me to appreciate more the characters being played as it depicts the comedic, tragic, and dramatic scene of everyday life. By this, I can assure that it would be easy for me to acquire these things to my students by merely encouraging and patronizing theater. It is therefore imperative that teachers must take into consideration this form of art as it requires greater understanding for a more meaningful learning experience. Thank you.
You're listening to SDO Isabela Radio-Based Instruction.
Come on, Mape!
Yay!
Mape paawit, Mape pagguhit, Mape sayaw at Mape lusog ka. When learning continues in Mape Edukalidad. Hey!
When learning continues in MAPE Edukalidad.
Kalasay may pang-akit na taglay, maginhawat di maalinsangan. Nakahahalina kung pagmasdan, kalesa ay pambayang sasakyan.
Kabayo'y hindi natin problema, kulot at damo lang ay tama na. Patuloy din sa kalsada, tumatakbo, maginhawa, wala pang gasolina.
Kalesa ay mga tikwina, kung panahon na mayarara.
Mga bayan, nilitong bayan, sa kalesa inuluyan.
Does this musical art form sounds familiar to you? Great! Welcome to our first episode in Music for the fourth quarter with the title Traditional Asian Theater Music for Grade 8. I am Sir Alexander Despicio, your handsome maestro, only here at Radyo Eskwela. But before we set the stage for our on-air learning adventure, let's get the drum rolling for some ticklish, wiggly theatrical show on airwaves. I'm sure you're all ready to take the learning adventure with me. Fasten your seatbelts, my dear students, because today, we are going to visit some of the most wonderful traditional theaters around Asia. I am going to host our on-air tour over Asia today. And our target location? Yes, traditional theaters. If we say traditional theaters class, we are going to witness on air the breathtaking performances of some of our very own Asian nations' music virtuoso. Bravo! For today's session, I will walk you through the traces and influences made by other known Asian nations in presenting their brilliant, marvelous, traditional theatrical performances, and how these forms of art and music have imparted significant impacts to societies in terms of their spiritual, cultural, and social backgrounds. Great! We are now ready to savor the fun of tracing and listening to the traditional theater music of Japan and China. But before we savor the fun of listening music from the theaters, take a deep breath first, for we are about to start the learning journey with a game. Would that be awesome? In this game, I will play a song for 1 minute, and all you have to do is to identify whether such song originated from Japan or China. You may place your answers here at Radyo Eskwela. I'm sure you're all ready. Let's begin. Listen carefully. Music Maestro. What a peaceful form of music. Can you tell me where it came from? Time's up. The answer is China. The title of the song is Molewa or Jasmine Flower, which is a popular Chinese folk song. This song dates back to 18th century. The translation for this Chinese song is this: what a beautiful jasmine flower, fragrant, beautiful, full branches, fragrant and white. Everyone praises you. I want to pick you to wear, but I'm afraid people will laugh and think I'm silly. Jasmine flower, oh jasmine flower. Over time, many regional variations were created, and the song gained popularity both in China and abroad. Next, Music Maestro. What a fine, excellent song to listen to. Can you tell me where it came from? Time's up. The answer is Japan. Fusurato means my hometown, which is well-known 1914 Japanese children's song. Are you enjoying this, my dear students? If yes, say your most excited hooray! Great! Have you experienced watching a stage play or a theater play? How was it? Did you enjoy watching? In this lesson, we are going to encounter the traditional Asian theater art and music. We will have unique experience how this traditional theater music forms are performed. Bear in mind, my dear students, that theater arts is one of the ancient tradition of Asian people, particularly in Japan, China, and Indonesia. This theater art form was transmitted from generation to generation. Through the various forms of theater art, a specific form can be achieved clarity, order, and beauty rarely found in ordinary life. In other words, theater art and music is a mirror that reflects the way of living. It gives the nations an inspiration to express life, beauty, struggles, and victories, and elite backs where expressive movement, dialogues, and props are mixed together to create a full package of art and music form. Are you ready to experience traditional Asian theater on air? Alright, hang on kids, let's go to Japan. Japan is unique for having a living theater that retains traditional forms. It is where the traditions of stagecraft and costumes for both drama and dance have remained unchanged. Traditional form of popular theater, which began at the end of 16th century and soon became the most successful theater entertainment in the red light districts of the great cities. Both No and Kabuki are unique and genuine expression of Japanese spirit and culture. They mirror, however, tastes and ideals of different social classes in profoundly different environments and epochs. Let's listen to No performance. The one that was played was entitled No Performance, Tamura Dance of the Ghost. No has enchanted people all over the world through its charms, including sharp skills in the art of chanting and dancing, fascinating stories, literary sophistication, and diversity of expression. The accumulated charms have resulted in the unshakable international reputation of No art, registered as an intangible cultural heritage of UNESCO or United Nations Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization. Now, upon listening to Tamura, Dance of the Ghost, what instruments were played? Can you guess the musical instruments used in their performance? Great! The No performances use stringed musical instruments and drums. In Japan, they call the three-stringed instruments as shamisen. At this point, I would like to share with you the sound when this shamisen is played. Let us all listen. In Japanese theater, besides shamisen, there are also three types of drums they play. They have the kotsuzumi, otsuzumi, and the taiko. First, the Japanese have the use of the small shoulder drum called kotsuzumi. This drum is literally placed on the person's shoulder when playing it. Let's play this small shoulder drum. Listen carefully, my dear students. Next, they have the sound of the waist drum or otsuzumi. Let's play this instrument. Listen carefully. Another instrument used in Japanese theater art is the taiko or stick drum. Would you like to hear their performance where taiko drum is played? Great! Let's listen then. It reminds me of Moana rolling the drums in her ancestors' sacred hiding place of their boats. See? The Japanese theater art and music are so unique and flexible that stringed and some different types of drums can be played in one single performance. This music in Japanese theater called naugata. Naugata music is very flexible. can be performed by one shamisen or by the entire orchestra of 20 musicians, of which 10 are shamisen players while other plays flutes and drums. Wow! Imagine yourself sitting at the front seat facing a stage where 20 musicians are chanting you with musical instruments. Another feature of Japanese theater arts and music is their dance features. Their dances and movements are accompanied by shamisen music, which collected and popularized a number of aspects from all precious forms of Japanese music. From gagaku, a classic court music imported from China during the 18th century. Let's hear from gagaku, or the Japanese court music. Going back to the orchestra and musical features of Japanese theater arts and music, are you now ready to listen again to the different instruments played in a single live performance in Japanese theater? Hang on there, students! Music Maestro! Did you enjoy listening to the music brought by Japanese tradition? Great! And so did I. The ones we listened to were the no and kabuki percussions and drums. No, derived from Sino-Japanese word for skill or talent, is the oldest major form of classical Japanese drum drama that has been performed since the 14th century. No is often based on tales from traditional literature with a supernatural being transformed into human form narrating a story. Bear in mind by their students that No integrates masked, costumes, and various props in dance-based performances. Requires highly trained actors and musicians. Emotions are primarily conveyed by stylish conventional gestures, while the iconic mask represents the roles such as ghosts, women, children, and the elderly. Another classical Japanese dance drama is the kabuki. Take note, class, that kabuki theater is known for its heavily stylized performances, the often glamorous costumes worn by the performers, and for the elaborate komadori makeup worn by some of its performers. And speaking of the performers of this Japanese theater, let's hear it from them.
손 잡고 왕에 다시
Wow! Have you noticed their vocal patterns and techniques? Yes, there are vocal patterns and techniques they also take into considerations. First is the iponchosi, or the continuous pattern, which requires an extraordinary breath control that characterizes an oversized character or supernatural hero. Nori technique is adopted from the chanting of jururi, implying a very sensitive capacity of riding the rhythms. The third one is yakuharai technique, or the subtle delivery of poetical text written in Japanese metrical form. Wow, what a great enchanting performance to be witnessed! Once the pandemic is over, if there is a chance that I can choose a place to visit, well, Japan is never far from my bucket list. So let's all not lose hope and always pray for the world healing and peace. So we are finished discovering the theater arts and music of Japan. Next destination? China. Chinese performing arts, the dance and the theater arts of China, tied from the earlier records to religious beliefs and customs. This date to 1000 BCE, and they describe magnificently costumed male and female shamans who sang and danced to musical accompaniment, drawing the heavenly spirits down to the earth through their performances. Peking opera is a form of traditional Chinese theater which combines music, vocal performance, mime, dance, and acrobatics. It arose in the late 18th century and became fully developed and recognized by mid-19th century. The form was extremely popular in the Qing dynasty court and has become to be regarded as one of the cultural treasures of China. The vocal requirements for all the major roles were greatly reduced for Peking opera. Performances are accompanied by music, usually played on three types of instrument: wind instrument, a string instrument, and percussion. The main instruments are Chinese in origin. The jinghu, a two-string instrument played with a bow. Let's listen to the sound that this jinghu makes. Also, the Chinese have yuaiken, a four-string instrument that is black. Let's listen to the sound this instrument makes. Traditional Chinese theater music also has santian, a three-string instrument also black. Let's find out the sound it makes. Listen, students. Also, this traditional theater has swan horn. Let's listen to the sound this swan horn makes. Chinese flutes and a variety of gongs and cymbals. The Chou, in particular, rarely has singing part in Peking opera, unlike the equivalent role in Kunku style. This time, let us listen to the Kunku style music found in traditional theater music. Did you enjoy listening to the theater music of China? I hope yes, because the melodies that accompany each play were simplified and are played with different traditional instruments than in early forms. The popularity of Peking opera has been attributed to the simplicity of the form, with only a few voices and singing patterns. This allows anyone to sing the arias themselves. Theater musicians learn their parts by rote since Chinese musical notation is very imprecise. Most music used in Peking opera has been worked out collaboratively between actors and musicians. Most is borrowed by already existing sources and recombined according to the different requirements of a particular play. The actor's delivery of lines is rigidly controlled by conventions. Each role has its prescribed vocal timbre and pitch, and syllables that are often drawn out regard for conversational usage in order to maintain the appropriate rhythm. Even spoken passages are governed by strict rhythms and tempos. Chanted and sang passages are freely inserted into spoken monologues or dialogues. Thus, lines are rendered in an extremely stylized manner. Did you enjoy our lesson, students? Great! Before we proceed to our next activity, let's sum up the lesson we just had. What again are the traditional Asian theater music forms? Alright, we have the Japanese theater music and the Peking opera. Now, what are the two classical dance drama that can be found in Japan? You may comment your answers. Very good. We have the No and Kabuki. Now, what are the instruments used in Japanese theater music? Shashimen or three-string instrument, small drum or kotsuzumi, waist drum or otsuzumi, and the strict drum or the taiko. Now, how about the instruments used in Peking opera? Okay, they have the jinghu, a two-string instrument played with a bow, the yueqin, or spelled as yueqin, a four-stringed instrument that is black, a sanxian, spelled as sanxian, a three-string instrument also black, the suona, or the suona horn, spelled as suona, Chinese flutes, and a variety of gongs and cymbals. It seems that you are now ready to take a new level. Let's call our final activity Sound of the Theater Instrument. First part, I have here in my hands the list of instruments used in Japanese theater music. You are going to listen to the sound made by these instruments and identify which instrument is being played. Your first list of options is A. Shamisen or the three-string instrument, B. The small drum or the kotsuzumi, C. Waist drum or otsuzumi, and D. Stick drum or taiko. Are you ready? Let's begin. Is it A. Shamisen, B. Kotsuzumi, C. Otsuzumi, or D. Taiko? Please comment down your answers. Time's up. The answer is letter B, small drum or what we call the kotsuzumi. Next sound, music maestro. Is it A. shamisen, B. kotsuzumi, C. otsuzumi, or D. taiko? Please comment down your answers. Time's up. The answer is letter A, sashimen, or 3-string instrument. Let's have the second list of your instruments used in Peking opera as your choices. We have A, the jinghu, a 2-string instrument played with a bow. B, the yuiken, a 4-string instrument that is black. C, the sanchan, a 3-string instrument also black. And letter D, the swana horn. Let's begin. Music maestro. Is it A, jinghu, B, yuiken, C, santian, or D, swana horn? Please comment down your answers. Time's up. The answer is letter D, the swan horn. Next sound, music maestro. Is it A, jinghu, B, yuiken, C, santian, or D, swana horn? Please comment down your answers. Time's up. The answer is letter A, the jinghu, a 2-string instrument played with a bow. Did you get all the correct answers? That's it, class. This is the composition of our on-air discovery of the traditional Asian theater music. I am sure that there will be more on-air fun-filled discoveries to be conducted only here at our Radyo Eskwela sa Isabela. So, don't lose touch with me, okay? On behalf of our scriptwriter, our talented and intelligent scriptwriter, Ma'am Bernadette G. Segundo from Reino Mercedes Vocational and Industrial School, together with the RBI production team, this has been your teacher on air, Sir Alexander Spicio, saying, to play music of life is to face challenges life brings. Goodbye, my imaginative lads and ladies. God bless.
Tayo na sa Radyo Eskwela. Tayo na!
Patuloy ang edukasyon para sa ating henerasyon.
Sa daan ng pagkatuto ay walang may iwan.
Kaya halina sa Radyo Eskwela!